good time. All the things I've done and said, hoping and I pray, Lord is here to help me find my way.
All right, folks. Welcome to Sac Life TV. It's Ashley here. We're at Celebrate Recovery in Folsom with the car show, Celebrate Recovery, and of course our marquee star of the night, country singer Andrew Marshall. Andrew, thank you so much for making the trip out here.
Hey, thanks for having us.
Now, were you born and raised in California?
Born and raised in Woodland, and we pretty much, well, I was a gypsy pretty much for a good chunk of my life, including, but not limited to, a couple prison terms.
Really?
But we had settled back in after that second prison term, and we were living in Woodland, leading a Celebrate Recovery. Mm-hmm. And then we prayed on it, and I had told my wife that God's telling us we got to take this on the road. And she says, nope. When God tells me, I'll let you know. So 2 years ago, she said, all right, God told me to get out of the way. We could do this. So we quit our jobs, sold our house, sold everything in it, bought a fifth wheel, and now we travel the country. We kind of base out of Nashville.
Okay.
Because it's kind of close to everything. Mm-hmm. But it's kind of our home base.
And does I'm not quite sure what your testimony is. Did you want to share a little bit about your testimony?
Well, we're going to do it tonight, but we can do a little bit.
Just for the audience at home that can't be here tonight.
Yeah. So the mini testimony, I was born in a blue-collar family. I went to private school. By all rights, I should have been normal. Normal. I never felt like I belonged. Even in my own house, I felt like I was the outcast. I created that in my head. And when I finally got to public school in high school, I went to Christian Brothers High School for the first year. Oh. And then I said, no, I need to be around girls. Because Christian Brothers at the time was all boys high school.
All boys school, that's right.
So I said, I need girls. And I went there, and it was just a bad idea. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't even the girls. It was private school is a little bit farther ahead than public school. Mm-hmm. So when I raised my hand that first or second day and told the teacher, he said, yeah, you're new here. Where'd you come from? Christian Brothers? I said, yes, sir. I said, I've already learned this. He goes, oh, it's okay. We're just refreshing the last few months of last year. I said, no, I learned this 3.5 years ago. He said, then it's going to be really easy for you. I said, all right. So that started me talking, getting in trouble because it was the same in all the classes. And then they looked like they were having fun drinking at parties. I tried that. I didn't like it. So I asked, what else you got? And that's kind of what I did. But I seemed to like to go fast more than slow. Mm-hmm. So cocaine through the 80s and the 90s. Went to the military. The only thing that changed in the military was we all wore green. I found the same people in there.
Yeah.
I came back home, got in trouble, got sent to prison, got out of prison the first time, 2 years there. Went to a rehab afterwards because that's how you had to parole. Mm-hmm. And then a month into that, my wife walked in. She had checked herself in, and you're not supposed I do not recommend dating at a rehab. However, this time it worked out because that was 20 years ago.
I mean, God has a plan.
He has a plan. We were dating while we were there. We got out. We got married. And a few years later, I was doing a remodel in my house, and I found a bag that I had stashed there a couple years before. She was out of town. I was like, this couldn't possibly be any good anymore. Well, no one's here. No one's going to know. I checked out. I didn't check with my sponsor. I didn't do any of the right things. I just ran with it. And then from that minute that I did that, the next 365 days were the longest night of my life because I rarely slept. I lost my business again. I lost my Harleys again. I lost my truck, the house, everything for the second time. She turned me in because she thought I was going to die. And I probably would have if she hadn't. From my knees down, my legs were black. I had no circulation because I'd go for 13, 15, 16 days at a time. Inside, I went to Celebrate Recovery. Now, the whole time I was in that second term, I stayed high. Mm-hmm. Because what were they going to do, put me in jail?
Valid point.
About 6 months before I got out, a friend of mine said, hey, they got really cool instruments at the chapel. They're doing this thing called Celebrate Recovery. We should go over there. They'll let us play them. And I said, all right. I wanted to play the instruments. So I went. The guy on the stage was from outside, very clean cut, buttoned down, parted hair, looked like he belonged in an office job, and sat there and said, "We're the same. I've been where you're at, and I know what you're going through." And I was like, no. I didn't listen to anything he said. We didn't ever get to play the instruments that night. I got mad. I was walking around out in the yard the next week. My friend comes up to me and says, "I'm sorry, dude. It was a mistake. I talked to him. He's going to let us play this time." I said, "All right," because I'm gullible. I went. This time, the guy that stand on the stage was about 35 years old, covered sides of his face, neck, arms, covered in tattoos. And I was like, And he kind of said the same thing as, "I've been where you're at, and we're kind of the same. And I want to tell you a story." But this time I said, "All right, I'm going to give you a chance. I'm going to listen." He was serving a life sentence, and at that time, a couple years before, they were overturning life sentences and letting people out. And he was one of them. And he said, "No matter what happens, Lord, if I get out or if I stay in, I will tell everybody how you've changed my life." And he got out, and now he comes back into the prisons. Still, at the end, though, I listened to everything he said, and at the end, he asked people to come up for an altar call, and I was like, I'm not going up there. But I looked down at my feet, and they're taking me up there. I said, I don't want to go up here. Why am I walking up there? Now, obviously you've never been to prison.
No, I've been to jail.
What?
I have a story
High
too.
five.
I hide it behind the eyelashes. So
It's a little bit different from jail to prison,
is
but
different.
some rules still apply.
yes.
There's about 60 or 70 inmates in that chapel service as I'm walking to the front. I was raised Catholic, so I don't know how the Christian church does church at that point. Mm-hmm. I get up to the front, and all 60 or 70 guys, inmates, stood up and started what I felt like was coming at me.
Praying for your son's bottom, and he's my son before he's your son. I love him more than you do. And bottoms aren't pretty. And you're not coming back because I had to take you all the way across the country to get you out of my way.
Wow.
And to stop catching him every time I try to let him fall.
Gosh, good Lord.
So my son ended up going into a rehab after I decided to put him in God's hands.
Good.
And I realized that when I put my finances and my children in his hands, I really got to trust him.
You know, though, I mean, as a mother, it's so hard to give that up, even though you have all your faith in God. I mean, I can imagine only
That
so
was the
many
hardest.
women. That's probably, yeah.
That was the hardest, was like, okay,
Because that's your baby.
Yeah.
That is all full faith.
Yes, but that was more understanding that, he loves him more than me.
Yeah. You cannot be afraid with him in your heart either.
He loves him more than me, and I was like, all right, he's yours.
Oh.
He's yours.
Oh.
And so he's coming around. He went from worshiping the other side to now creator, to now knowing there's Jesus, to letting people lay hands on him and pray. So it's been but I had to get out of the way.
Gosh, that's
I had to
insane.
get out of the way.
But it's powerful. It's just
It's I know that I do none of it. It's all him.
yeah, it just takes so much bravery and courage to just give that up.
Yeah, but your faith grows.
But yeah, you're not
Yeah.
giving it up, you're just giving it up to him.
It felt like it at first. I
Yeah.
felt like almost like he was praying my hands. I was like, here he is,
Why?
And he was my youngest.
Baby.
So it was like everything in me wanted to go back and just save him. But everything I'd been doing wasn't working. And he ended up telling me 4 days later, Mom, if you wouldn't have moved, I'd have never got clean.
Wow.
Because I was a safe space to land.
That's also what makes you amazing mama too, though. He always has you to feel that way. I love it. Well, Miss Darlene, it was so wonderful talking to you. I know you
thank
have
you.
stuff to do
I know.
probably, but I am just I love doing this because I'm always so inspired by everyone I come across, and you are just so powerful to talk to.
thank
Like,
you.
you need your own TikTok like your husband, because I could just watch you all day, girl. I just wish we didn't have all the time constraints. Like, they still have to perform.
I know. I can hear the bass drum.
I'm like, should I be letting her go? But thank you so much,
Thank
Darlene.
you. God bless
You are a
Thank
joy
you so
and
much.
inspiration.
Thank you.
What's up, Sac Sac Life. It's your girl Ashley here with Ron Herman, owner and CEO of Sac Life TV. Ron, thank you so much for being here with us.
Of course. I can notice we've got matching shirts on. Here we go.
We are two of a kind there here. But today we're at the first annual Celebrate Recovery in Folsom car show and country concert led by Andrew Marshall, who was graciously flown out here from Tennessee, I believe, to come be with us. So Ron, tell us how Sac Life TV and Celebrate Recovery kind of go together.
Sure. Well, it's not that we go together with just Celebrate Recovery. Sac Life TV wants to go together with everybody in our community that's nonprofit or community outreach. Our purpose here as a TV station is to enlighten and bring to light anything that's going on in our community that our area needs to know about. You as the viewer every day you're inundated with bad news from the alphabet soup of television stations, and there's nowhere to go to brighten your day, and that's what we're here for. We are Sacramento's inspiration station, whether it's faith, whether it's community outreach, whether it's nonprofit. When you tune into our station, you want to leave, even if it's just visit us for a couple of minutes and then go off to wherever other streaming service you want to go to. We'd hope you'd stay with us. But if you come to us, you're here for a few minutes and you're going to leave with a smile or a better attitude than you were when you came on. And our job is to go out into the community, whether it's Rancho Cordova, Elk Grove, Folsom, Roseville, you name it, in the Sacramento region. If you have a nonprofit, you have a church, you have an event that you want to put on, if you're doing it yourself, great. Invite us to come out and either film it or at least advertise it on our station so people know what's going on. But we like to be partners with our community. We're right here with Celebrate Recovery. We got together with Randy, who is and Terry, Rodney and Terry, who are the organizers out here, and they said they wanted to do something to get Celebrate Recovery on the map for the area. You know, it's more than just, as you probably interviewed, it's more than just addictions here. There's all sorts of reasons that Celebrate Recovery is here, whether it's alcohol, drugs, codependency, eating disorder, whatever it is. You know, they come here with their families. They have a great, every Tuesday night, it's 250 people here. It's a celebration. It's not people sitting around a table going, "Hi, I'm so-and-so, and I have a problem." "Hi, Jack." No, it's not like that. It's concert, it's music, it's people meeting people, connections, having dinner, having a PlayStation for the kids to get around. It's all this stuff in one. And when I saw that, I said, what is your goal here?" They said to let more people know that this is available to them. And I said, well, that's what Sac Life TV is for. So we teamed up with them, we partnered with them, found some sponsors, Mosley Collins, Topo Padilla. They're putting the dollars down to have the event take place. We've got the car show here, so the people are coming with their cars and participating, and coming to the concert tonight and see what's going on. So this whole package together is what we are about. And so when this is all done, and what you're watching here is the result of that. We're interviewing the sponsors. We're interviewing the nonprofit, and of course ourselves, so that you can see what you are capable of doing out there if you invite us along for the ride.
You know, how did you discover Celebrate Recovery in general? Are you from this area, or?
Oh, no. So this is a little bit about my story. I grew up back in Pennsylvania, like the East Coast, many years ago, in a small little town in the middle of nowhere called St. Mary's, Pennsylvania, town of like 10,000. And it was interesting because it was like a German Catholic town. So like half the people in the town were churchgoers and the other half were drunks. And I did both. So grew up there, and then knew I just wanted, went from a small town to college, where I really started getting into the party scene because I could, because it's really boring. So I think I say my testimony, when I was 16, I had my first beer, and 17, I had my first joint, and it went for like 30 years. But grew up in Pennsylvania, I went to college there, and then came out here to work, which was, California was the promised land. The nice weather, palm trees, beaches, and of course I ended up in Folsom where there were no beaches, but there were palm trees.
And lake.
And that's where I met Terry. Just randomly at the lake. She was walking her dog one day, and I had stopped to have a six-pack. There's a theme here. And she was walking by, and it's like, oh, look at that pretty girl. And then 8 weeks later, she got pregnant. I don't know how that happened.
and then we got married. But so back to how I found Celebrate Recovery. So like I said, I kind of grew up, always searching for something. And here's kind of an interesting thing is, I bought into what society was telling me, right? It was like, hey, when you go to college, you should go to school and get good grades, which I did. And then, and you can go to college, which I did. And then when you graduate from college, you can get a good job, which I did. And then if you get a good job, you can marry a pretty full woman, which I did. And then you can have kids, which I did. And all this, which I did. But then here's the lie. And then you'll be happy. And I wasn't happy. It was like I was always searching for something. And a lot of it was brought on by a lot of, low self-worth, a lot of abandonment when I was little, when I was a kid. Mom and Dad were great people, but they worked a lot, so I was kind of by myself. And anyway, so I got, to numb that pain, I started drinking more, started using more drugs, and I basically wandered into like a 25-year alcohol and drug addiction. Not, over the top or ended up in jail and all that kind of stuff, but, it's probably about 15 or 16 years ago. My life was at the bottom, right? I was drinking and using every day. Terry was about to leave me because when I wasn't high, I was just mean all the time and just absent. My kids were teenagers. They, one just hated me, one was embarrassed of me. And it was just time to quit. I knew I wanted to get well, but I didn't know how. And I happened to be at a church and saw a flyer that said Celebrate Recovery. And it was like, oh, well, maybe this will work because nothing else did. Yeah. And I started going to Celebrate Recovery and, leaned into it. Because it wasn't, Celebrate Recovery isn't this hardcore, you got to get clean no matter what. I mean, it brought a lot of the religious side into it. So I had gone to AA, and I still go to AA, and I love AA and NA and all those things. But so I go to CR, and within a year, I got clean and sober. And then I got more into leadership, where I was leading small groups, and I was teaching CR lessons and all that. And then around Terry came and all of that. And then I still remember on my 50th birthday, I gave my testimony, and it was like a packed house. And it was like a good night, and I got awards for all my service. But little did I know that was when my relapse started. Because relapse starts in your mind long before in your head. So I was on the top of the world. I got everything. I've got this whole recovery thing figured out. I'll never drink or use again. And once I started letting that slip into my head, 3 months later, our son got married, and I thought I deserved to have another drink. And then it just spiraled into the worst year of my life. Terry.
Hey guys, check out my new friend Mark, and tell me about your Corvette here, Mark.
This is a 2005 C6 Corvette. It's lowered, has clear coat on it to give it like a pastel look.
I love it.
The rims are, I forgot who makes them. but my son actually built this Corvette for his daddy.
What a good son.
And so he works for Horsepower Fabrication, or he is Horsepower Fabrication.
Horsepower Fabrication.
His name's Cody.
Cody.
And his nickname is Bo Easy.
Bo Easy, Cody Bo Easy at Horsepower Fabrication.
Yeah, and there's a Miss Bo Easy, and then there's a bunch of little ones.
So it's a nice family affair, it sounds like, huh? Now, do you just pick this car up off of a lot, or do you find, I don't know anything about cars, Mark. Can you kind of break it down for me?
Yes, we saw this car for sale where the guy blew the motor.
Oh.
And so, speaking of motors, I guess.
Yeah.
He blew the motor up.
Wow.
And
I like how
he couldn't afford to rebuild the motor.
So
I bought it for $9,350.
Wow.
And I bought the supercharger. The guy paid $7,500 out of San Francisco.
Wow.
And my son said, "Dad, you need that." And he said, "We can get it for $35." So I went down to San Francisco to buy it from the gentleman. I said, "Well, why'd you take it off?" He goes, "It was just too much." And then he goes like this. And then he goes like this. He goes, "You want to see my drift car?" And I go, "Let me guess. You got a 240. And he goes, "How'd you know?" I go, "My son's had like 10 of them." with Jay-Z motors from 502s in them.
Oh, wow.
SR22s, whatever it all is.
Oh, wow.
He's had them all. So he told me, he said, "Let's buy this." And Jordy from Street Outlaws.
Okay.
He lives in Elk Grove. He built my bottom end.
Wow.
He's my son's real good friend.
Oh.
And then my son said he built the top end and he put LS9 cam in it. And then he said, we got to put that Pro Charger, because I was getting so impatient. Years waiting, a year waiting for my turn. And then so some of his buddies, Julian and the boys, they put the motor in, I paid them. And now I'm waiting on just a fuel pump inside. But this thing runs.
Now, how fast does a car like this go?
I don't know fast yet, because I haven't been able to put my
pedal to the metal?
because I'm waiting on the fuel pump.
That's
to
right.
feed the injectors. But she's probably looking at 700 horses just sitting there.
Whew.
And you buy a 2022, they got 550. So when I go up to them and give them a little whoosh, they just back off and get in line.
Like,
And would you like me to start it so you guys can hear it on live
that'd
on
be
TV?
fabulous. I'd love to feel the roar.
Yeah, and what's more, you know who gave me the roar? Cody Boaz at Horsepower Fabrication. My
Horsepower
son.
Fabrication.
He loves
Cody
his
Boaz.
daddy. Huh?
Oh,
So
absolutely.
let me start it so you guys can hear a little whoosh.
Okay.
And this is where the noise will come off.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Woo! Woo! What's up, Sac Life? I'm here with Al.
Hi there.
And this is his heavy Chevy, as he told me.
Heavy Chevy.
And I heard this was a custom built by you or rebuilt by you?
No, yeah, this is custom built by me.
How long does this is amazing. Like, I don't know anything about cars, but I know something beautiful when I see it.
Thank you.
So how long does something like this take for you to create?
Well, this has been a 30-year build, but I started around 92 on it.
Oh, wow.
In 1992. But when you're raising a family and trying to keep a job, build your 401k, this is secondary. So
Yeah.
I didn't really spend 30 years on it, but it took 30 years to get it done.
It's a 30-year hobby in progress.
30 years off and on, Yeah.
But I couldn't help but notice the color. What would you call this red?
Well, this is a House of Colors
Okay.
candy flake job.
House of Colors Candy Flake Job. Okay.
Yeah. So it's candy apple red, and to get the color, you've got to apply a lot of layers of everything, from your sealers to your flake to your candy to your clear coat. So the more coats of candy, the darker it gets.
Oh, wow.
So actually, when I did do the paint job, I was realizing it looked hideous because it was too much of this red here.
Oh.
So I decided to hard line it right here and do the hood a different flake. See, you can see the two-tone
Yeah,
right here.
there's so much depth and dimension.
It's two-tone. So all the way down, it's two-tone, up through here, and then through the hood.
Now, was this the flame aspect all your idea too, or was it?
No, that was a dream of mine to be able to do it.
Really?
It's a goal to lay the flames out, but you don't really know until you do it how you're going to do it. So this was actually the third attempt on getting a design. I laid the flames out on one side in a perpendicular line, like so, we'll say, and to make them kind of like a V shape, so they all ended up even. And I didn't like that, so I took all that. I took it all off. Tried another design.
If you don't succeed, try again.
Tried another design and didn't like that one, so I got this box at the house, cabinet, for materials, and I put some paper up there, and because at that point I was frustrated, right?
You're over it.
I was frustrated. So, okay, calm down. Let's just try freehand something. So I started just drawing with my hand and letting my hand do it,
Wow.
and letting my hand follow, get in the groove, So I finally started seeing it like, okay. So then I took that idea and put it here.
My gosh, it came out fantastic.
Came out with this idea, yeah.
Couldn't help but notice all the chrome underneath too.
Well, a lot of people say chrome, but it's polished aluminum.
See, I don't know that much about cars. It looks chromey, but polished aluminum.
Yeah, which it takes a whole lot more to get that shine
Wow.
than just chrome,
Well,
But everything that you're looking at, mostly everything I built myself and made these parts.
That's
I made-
fantastic.
I made this
though.
shroud, I made that piece, I made that piece, I made this piece right here
Gosh,
for
the
the-
craftsmanship in this.
for the fuel lines and stuff.
Wow. And
So-
now you just go around and show it off to everybody at all the car shows?
Yeah, you know, that's the pleasure in it. But you know, before I say that, I don't like to say that I'm the reason for the season.
Yeah.
It's not about pride that way for me.
No.
It's about showing what Jesus Christ gave to me.
That's a fantastic.
And showing his skills that he gave me to do it with, and the money and the patience and the endurance
That's
to do it.
such a breath of
you
fresh
know?
air to hear. You don't
That's-
hear that from a lot of, car builders
Right.
and whatnot.
I don't want to take that kind of credit or be a boaster about it or proud about it, but I'm happy about it that God gave this to me.
No, it's a
you know?
beautiful,
I truly believe that.
manifestation, really, of everything He gave you.
Everything is a first time for me to do that. This is the first time to do a paint job like this, the first time to do the interior. I did all the interior work except the 2 front seats.
That's insane.
To create all the aluminum trim for those speaker boxes back there
Wow.
like that. It's chopped too, so that's the first time I ever chopped anything.
Wow.
It's 3 inches off the front and 2 off of the back, and then the windshield is raked about 17 degrees down.
Oh my goodness.
So it gives it a fast look, and it's more aerodynamic. And
It's sleek. It looks so sleek and polished. I'm absolutely. So, do you have roots with Celebrate Recovery in Folsom? or-
no, I was invited to the show. I got a flyer at another show.
Oh.
And so I thought I'd come out and support it. It's a good cause.
That's
I know that
fantastic.
there's some alcoholism in my family, and
Yeah.
so I just want to come out and support it.
See, the
And
fellowship
being-
always follows, right?
Yeah, plus being the Bayside Church and stuff, and
Yeah.
I know the Bayside Church over there in Roseville.
Yeah.
I was up there like the first year. Well, this is exciting. But the first year that I got this to a point where I could almost get it done if I really, really put some hours with the interior work to go to that show for Father's Day. And so it was like those movie, like the
Yes.
shows, get it done, do this, do that, and don't miss a day. And I got it done and took it to the show. And my very first show, it got best of show.
Boy.
And it was in front of the grandkids, and the grandkids were so happy to see me win. They were jumping all over the
That is
place.
like a Disney movie moment, honestly.
It was, Well, this whole thing right here, I think if I step back and look at my childhood until now, it's my destiny. Because my mom had told me that I would have a nice car, truck, and motorcycle, or a truck and a motorcycle together, and that happened.
Yeah.
And sold the bike since then. But those mirrors came off that Harley.
I was wondering where you got
Yeah,
them.
they
Like,
can-
how do you even Google those kind of mirrors, you
well,
know?
I got them at Street Vibration because I like flames, and so my bike has flames on it, and so that really fit that. But now it fits this better,
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Headstrong, weak in the will, sucker for a good time. All